What are the use cases of buying a VPS? A VPS server has different usages. Some people use it to host their websites, and some people use it to run a VPN on it. A VPS can suit all these usages according to the abilities it has. In this article, we will check what you can use a VPS for. A VPS server is a virtual computer with dedicated resources to use the internet to connect to it remotely. The VPS hosting provider companies divide a dedicated server into different plans and resources, and you can rent each of the plans that you wish. To stay up to date with latest top stories, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking the button above this video. On a VPS, it is possible to install any operating system that we can't, like Windows, Linux, Mac, or MikroTik. A cheap VPS server is often the same virtual private server that you may buy from any provider. It's important to remember that some providers may share this kind of VPS resource or offer you less dedicated resources just because you're paying less for the service. Run a website. If you have recently set up a website, maybe a shared hosting service will suit you, but a shared web hosting service has its own issues. As your website grows, a shared web host service cannot suit your requirements. You cannot do any configurations and activate any features that you wish to have on a shared web hosting service. So this is the time to upgrade to a VPS. In a VPS, you will be in an administrator role. You can configure and install any package or service that you wish, and it is always upgradable. Configure VPN. VPN is one of the most useful protocols that we can use to ensure our security in web connections. VPNs have different protocols on topologies. You can rent a VPS service and run your VPN inside it if you know how to do it. You may say, you can easily buy a VPN service instead of running it by yourself, but how will you trust the VPN provider? If you have your own VPN, you can completely ensure your data security. Run game server. To play multiple games, you may connect to different rooms and servers. These servers are used by many people, and you may not get the full performance of this shared server. Instead, you can have your own VPS server and configure your own game server and play with anyone that wants to play around you. In this situation, you can run the games that you wish to play, and you are not limited to this. Also, you can choose the nearest server location to your own location to reduce the ping and decrease the speed of your connection to the server. Penetration test. When we run our project, service, or application, we should be sure about its security and we should find its bugs. The best way to do it is to use a VPS server. You can order a VPS server and do a penetration test on your own project to find its issues. Develop a project. Developing a project or code is a task that can be done on your own system, but it will not be better if you do it in a real environment. By using a VPS, it is possible. You can buy VPS server and develop your project step by step and be sure that each element of the code or script works correctly. Run hosting. To earn money in the IT field, one of the best ways is to sell a web hosting service. All beginner websites don't need a VPS server or a dedicated server. They just need a small place to start their project. You can get a VPS server, install a hosting reseller control panel on the server, and create your own web hosting plans inside it. Consider that you will also need a website to show your plans to your customer, which can be set up on the same VPS server. There are some famous control panels that make the work easier for you. Two most famous control panels are Panel WHM and Direct Admin, GUI Remote Connection. Sometimes we need to access a website or an environment through different real IPs of another location. To do this, you can get a Windows VPS and connect to a completely different and dedicated computer which is located in our own specific country inside a data center. We can access our Windows VPS using the Remote Desktop Connection application, which is installed by default on all Windows operating systems. Backup server. Nowadays, data security is more important than everything. Our data is all of our efforts in the web environment, so we do our best to protect it from being lost. One of the best ways to keep our data safe is to get a backup of our data. If you don't trust data backup service providers, you can easily rent a VPS and run your own backup server. Summary. A VPS server can have many benefits for any task we want to do in a web environment. We checked some of these benefits in this article, and I hope you have enjoyed them and found them useful.